at audible.com.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
America has a problem.
Happy Tuesday. You are clocking in for RSVP with Jill Munroe live on KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome, VIPs. We have so much to talk about. This is the show where we cover all the hot and trending topics in entertainment, sports, culture, and lifestyle. And tonight, as always, we have an amazing show for you. So before we get into what we have coming up for the night, I have a little question. There's some stuff I've been seeing floating around social media, opinions. So I always like to check in with you guys because I feel like you guys have a good sort of finger on the pulse along with me. So I'm taking your temperature on this. There was a video that was kind of surfing around of a guy. He was chilling. It was one of those videos like, oh, what do you do? And you're always surprised about what the person does. So this individual said that he was a project manager, an engineer, regular salary, somehow ended up through his work investing in Snapchat, said he was sitting on the board and made all of this money and whatever. And it turns out he's a liar and has been continuously lying on the internet in various formats. At one point in time, he claimed he was a football player because the internet, especially Twitter, they're like the FBI. They can find out anything. They're going to hunt you down and know your past. So what I want to know from you guys is, and 800-920-1580, that's where you can hit us up and answer this. Of course, hit up all of our socials, KBLA 1580. But what I want to know is, do you take someone at face value? When you meet someone and they give you some information, maybe it doesn't look the way in your mind the information that's presented should really be, but do you take them for face value, or do you research everything that people say? I'm just kind of curious about that because realistically, you want to uplift someone like that. Obviously, this guy was lying, so that's why I feel like people went and sought him out. But it just made me think about, in general, when you meet people, like you can meet someone standing in line at a restaurant or wherever, do you take what they say to you, if you're just having a light conversation, just banter, at face value? Or has social media caused us to be skeptical of everyone, and we think that lies are perpetrating around every corner? I guess that could be my good question of the night. That's my good question of the night. Do you take strangers' words at face value? Are we still in that era where you're giving the benefit of the doubt to people? That's what I want to know starting up. But I have great topics for you tonight and an amazing guest coming up in the second hour. So let me give you a little rundown of what we're going to discuss tonight. So coming right up, I know you guys are fans or have been at some point in time of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and you know about Jocelyn. Remember Jocelyn, Stevie J, and Mimi? They were very popular together, and Jocelyn has since moved on, always kind of in the headlines for being aggressive. Recently, she had an altercation at a fight with an actual fight, a boxing match, I should say. For Zeus, it was Floyd Mayweather's whatever it was, the little Zeus exhibition thing. And Jocelyn beat some girl up that was on her Zeus reality show backstage. Well, the footage from the police officers' cameras were released, and Jocelyn looked like Cocaine Bear. Have you guys seen that movie, Cocaine Bear? That's what Jocelyn looked like. She was cursing, she was aggressive, she was striking the officers. Very lucky that perhaps she wasn't on the street somewhere, because they did take her down and it was aggressive, but I just imagine what they might have done to her had this have been on the street. And maybe they didn't have a little bit of knowledge as to her background, that, she is a reality star and so forth. But Jocelyn was wilding out. She said some slurs to the officers that has the LBTQ community jacked up. I always want to make sure I don't leave out any letter, being respectful. I forgot. What did I forget? I forgot the G. I thought I said G. Okay, maybe I didn't. That's the main one. That's the spinoff. But at any rate, she said some, kind of homophobic slurs, some things like that. And the gay community has always been one of the biggest supporters of Jocelyn. They go up for her. They, in addition to others, support her. And so the first thing that she went to in this situation was to hurl these slurs at the officers. So we're going to get into that. And, since we're talking about giving people the benefit of the doubt and support, we're going to get into that story. We're going to talk about The Weeknd and Selena Gomez. His ex, Selena, has a beef with him, and it has to do with his show, The Idol, that just finished up on HBO, its first season run. We've heard that it's going to be canceled, but Divine Joy Randolph says, nope, season 2 is coming. That's another story, but we'll talk about what Selena's beef is with The Weeknd. We're also going to get into Zion. More with Zion. He stepped into Gilbert Arenas' podcast while down at Summer League and discussed a couple of topics. No, he didn't discuss Mariah, but we will, because Mariah has come out and said something. So we're going to get into that. Zion's mind space, where he's at, his approach to the upcoming season. He dropped a couple of jewels that you might be interested in learning some more good things about him. We're also going to talk about Cedars-Sinai. Now, if you are from LA, you have heard of Cedars-Sinai. It's one of the more popular, more well-known hospitals in the area. You often hear times Cedars connected with a lot of celebrities. However, the hospital, specifically the maternity ward, is facing a federal civil rights investigation. We'll talk about what that entails and how that connects back to the Black community. We will also discuss, because, I got a lot for you guys tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. Their All-Star game was tonight. The Home Run Derby was yesterday. Do you watch? Are you checking in with baseball? Is it something you circle around to? I just want to know. I just want to take your temperature on that. We're also going to get into what is happening as far as the New York Times and the LA Times with some of their coverage. There's going to be some changes coming, and tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is the deadline for the SAG-AFTRA union to decide whether or not they will be going on strike, joining the Writers Guild as striking, and what that means for all of us as fans, what it also means for how you'll be able to get your favorite stars. And coming up in the second hour, we have Eric Ashton Spooner. He is a spiritual advisor. He is an actor and a singer. And we're going to talk with him about Black men's health. We're going to have a conversation about keeping it positive, keeping on the right page, and dealing with depression as a Black man, and some other topics. We'll check in with him in the second hour. So all that and more when we come forward. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Hey KBLA, are you feeling the heat? LADWP has rebates up to $225 on new air conditioners to help you beat the heat and save money. Plus, you can sign up for Level Pay to get predictable monthly bills for easy budgeting. Stay cool. Visit ladwp.com/COOL-LA. That's ladwp.com/COOL-LA.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-381-8528 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-381-8528. That's 800-381-8528. What do you have to lose? Call 800-381-8528. Again, 800-381-8528.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking in with RSVP with Jill Munroe. It's Tuesday, like I mentioned, and there's a lot going on, but my kind of good question for the night is about giving people the benefit of the doubt. So we started off with Jocelyn Hernandez, former Love and Hip Hop ATL star. She has several shows on Zeus Network. As a matter of fact, she has a show that will be coming out in a couple of weeks, Cabaret New York. That is her ongoing series where she takes in women, and I guess she helps train them to perform in strip clubs or something like that. I'm going to be honest, I haven't checked it out. I've only seen clips, but we know that last month Zeus had an event in Florida where Floyd Mayweather was doing an exhibition match, and Jocelyn was arrested because she had a fight. Well, TMZ has obtained the footage from the officer's body cam video that shows what immediately happened after she beat up the woman's name was Big Lex. That's what her name was, at least on Jocelyn's reality show, and whatever started their beef. I'm sure you've seen the clips of that online. But when they went to get Jocelyn, she immediately started yelling, "I don't want any white men to touch me." And she starts throwing her phone at the guy and shouting and hitting. They end up wrestling her to the ground to get her to move. And it's a total nightmare. It's a total mess. And Jocelyn was on The Breakfast Club recently. Might have been yesterday, actually. And she said that she is currently clean. She admitted that she indulges a little bit in the cocaine. She said that she is fighting those urges at times. She did a big sniff to illustrate the things that she wants to do but is not doing. She also indicated that there might be a little pill usage in there. So my question to you is, as fans, when you see someone traveling down this path as Jocelyn is, with a lot of violence, obviously she's a mom. Her one-liners made her a fan favorite, but there's something going on right now. Do you think that it is responsible, I'll say, to still support these people in their ventures? Like, I don't know if you guys are fans of Jocelyn's cabaret, but if you are and you see her continuing to have this type of behavior, continuing to hurl obscenities at people, to attack people, in theory, for no real reason, at least no real reason at the moment, do you continue to support them and their other work for that to kind of, keep funding their bad habits? Or do you think that at a certain point it's your responsibility as a fan to kind of check off and not reward good behavior? I just wonder about that, because we see, especially now, that bad behavior is rewarded. Ratchetness is king in some circles. And even though there are somewhat consequences to some of the actions, it doesn't always seem to match the crime. And even with that, it's minor and they go right back to the same behavior. So at what point do we as fans kind of step in and say, hey, maybe this isn't cool? I don't know. I don't necessarily have the answer. I don't watch the show to begin with, but I just wonder, because we continue to see these type of things. Like, I know that a lot of people were on Jocelyn's side when they saw the clips from College Hill. She was on the most recent season of College Hill, along with Amber Rose, and they had an altercation during that. And Jocelyn accused Amber of not being comfortable with her blackness or that aspect of her. She didn't really want to claim that. And a lot of people felt Jocelyn on that and felt that she wasn't wrong in that instance. But still, her handling of situations is how she handles all situations. So at what point are we as fans not responsible for the behavior of adults, but are we encouraging it by supporting them? I just wonder that. If you have a comment on that, feel free to jump in the chat. The chat is always popping on YouTube. We have a little growing sentiment of friends there that check in, the VIPs that are on that exclusive tip. You can be too. All you got to do is log in. You can also, if you kind of are feeling shy or you want to think about your answer for a second, download the app. There is a voice message feature on the app where you can leave myself or any of the hosts messages and, catch up on any podcasts or shows that you may have missed and check in for news. There's news and updates on that as well. So that's a quick side. But think about that. Get back to me, because I would like to know how responsible you feel that you are for the behavior of some of your favorites. All right, so now we are jumping over to The Weeknd. He had this series that was on HBO called The Idol. In it, he played like a creepy kind of cult leader. It was an interesting show. We know that during the creative process, the original director and showrunner ended up leaving the series. She felt that the direction that they were taking it in was a little dark, a little misogynistic, just not appropriate, not something that she wanted to be involved in. Well, turns out that Selena Gomez is someone that also can't be counted as a fan of the series. She is convinced that The Weeknd, who is her ex-boyfriend, is using her real-life pain for entertainment. So here's the get down. The show The Idol is about a singing star, a young girl. She obviously has some issues with drugs. She has some, without giving too much away, habits that she indulges in that aren't healthy. And then she gets involved with this man and things go awry. So Selena reportedly feels that there are eerie comparisons between herself, her real life, and that of the character that Lily Rose Depp played in the series. The character's name is Jocelyn. Lily Rose Depp is Johnny Depp's daughter. There's all types of weird connections there, not with father and daughter, but, with Johnny's case that just ended with Amber Heard. So people are already kind of feeling a type of way about the environment that Lily has been in. And then this show. So Selena went on to say through a source, because this is, unconfirmed, how we do, that the similarities were uncanny and that since she actually dated The Weeknd, it's even more creepy to her. She feels like her real life pain was used to add entertainment value and it irks her. She says that everyone on her team who has known for a very long time about this is dumbfounded, but at the end of the day, they feel like Selena's going to do what she always does and rise above the fray. So if you don't know the whole premise of The Idol, she's an aspiring pop star, Jocelyn, her complicated relationship with Tedros, which is The Weeknd's character, a self-help guru and cult leader. So for me, I'm curious as to what the similarities might be because Jocelyn's character was a little messed up. So here are some of the things, according to sources, that Selena felt hit a little too close to home. So it centers off around Jocelyn's personal struggles and a mental breakdown that she faces. And Selena feels like that's similar to what she went through while she was, dating The Weeknd and after. She said another similarity is that Selena and Jocelyn seemingly rose to the top of their singing career as childhood stars. The characters have similar mannerisms, one of them being blowing kisses. Now, Selena, girl, what pop star doesn't blow a kiss occasionally? But listen, who am I to say? Maybe she's right. There might be some little tweaks or things that we're unaware of that she's locked in on. She also says that that they could be subtle comparisons, but there is also the backlash that Selena faced in 2015 when she decided to go topless on the cover of her album. That is something similar to a setup for Jocelyn in the premiere episode. And she's told by her management team that, when she was asked about it in a radio interview in 2015, Selena, she said, "I'm not going to let them get to me." And Jocelyn's character in the first episode, when faced with something similar, said something along those lines and ended it with, "It's my body." So Selena's mad, but not really going to do anything about it. I mean, did she call him? If she didn't bring this to our attention, because I didn't see a lot of people discussing The Idol in general, but not in comparison to Selena, would we have noticed? Sometimes I think the rush that we're in right now to speak on everything or to address everything is actually doing us a disservice. I don't know why people don't learn to chill and keep some things to themselves. Always works out better that way. Maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time it does. So let me know what you think. If you have any comments, if you think that Selena is tripping, if you think that The Weeknd is sourcing his personal life for his TV show, and how do you feel about that? Or all bets are off? Because you think about with pop stars in general, in theory, when they write their own music, they're basing it off their life. And we always talk about, what this album has experienced. You look at an album like Confessions, and people thought at the time the whole thing was about Usher and Chilli's relationship, but it really was about Jermaine Dupri's relationship with other people. So do you have a problem with that? How would you feel if you dated someone famous and they took some aspects of your relationship to expand their creative footprint? Is that okay? Are you with that? Or is that something that you're going to have to take a pass with? Let me know. All right. We mentioned Zion Williamson, and we know we've been talking about him quite a great deal. He announced with his girlfriend that he was expecting a child. They had a beautiful pregnancy announcement. And then another young lady that he was messing with, former adult film star Mariah Mills, came out and went on an absolute tirade for what felt like about a week. It might not have been that long, but it certainly did feel like it, where she explained how she did everything for Zion. She wanted to work with him on his diet and his food, get him in shape and all of that. Well, Zion was recently in Vegas and happened to be walking by Gilbert Arenas' podcast. He has a podcast called Gil's Arena. Fitting, right? That he co-hosts with Brandon Jennings, former NBA player, current streetwear brand owner, Tough Crowd. Shout out to him. Josiah Johnson, who, if you follow him on Twitter, you've seen everything. He's the king of memes, especially sports stuff. And Rashad McCants, another former NBA player. So Zion was walking by, decided to pop in and join them. As far as his weight, he said, listen, it's hard. Food calls him, but he's working on it. He's working on becoming more disciplined. He said that he is going to get into the LeBron plan because LeBron has the blueprint. And basically, it's not so much about dieting, which he says he will. It is about stretching and just making sure he changes his workout up and gets it in his proper form. I think Zion is going into his 4th year in the league so far. We have seen him very limited, very limited. We know way more about his social life than we really do about what's going to happen with his career as far as a pro. So he addressed just being more disciplined, more focused this summer, that it hurts him when he sees his teammates playing and he can't get involved in there. I don't know if I believe him about all that, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because we've been talking about that tonight. So let me tell you what Mariah says, though, about her relationship with Zion currently. She says that, although she faced a lot of backlash, she decided against, or was blocked, releasing their tape, and that, wait. Oh, okay. She said that his child's mother is probably just jealous of her, but she's not worried about that they have come to a happy medium. They are cool. And Zion is not taking any legal action against her. She said they're halfway good. That's the way that she put it. Halfway good. So I don't know if that means that she got a check or the threat of legal activity kind of knocked her out, but she says she's chilling right now. When asked if there was a chance that the two could reconcile, she said that Zion still can't get enough of this. So what do we think? Do we think that Zion has really left her alone? Do we think that after all she did, he would even remotely have a bit of conversation with her? He is young, only 23 years old, and, he seemingly was, at least for a bit, quite enchanted with whatever specialties Miss Mills was out there giving it up for him for. So the question to you is, do you think that no matter what they're saying, that they possibly would still be in contact? Do you think that Zion learned his lesson? Or do you think that he's out there still messing around, dipping and dapping? We'll have to find out. When we come forward, we have more stories. We're going to talk about Cedars-Sinai and the suit that they're facing. We're also going to get into John Singleton. There's some issues going on with his estate. We're going to talk about that. All that and more coming up is news and sports. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580 RSVP with Jill Munroe.
No, 'cause love don't get no higher than this. No. Grind, boy, I grind. When I pull up this change your mind. Your mind, when I step on the scene, they can't wait to back it up. Your ex still a dope, but it ain't crack enough.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The House panel investigating the origins of COVID-19 is focusing on a 2020 paper that concludes the virus did not come from a lab leak. Republicans have claimed the paper was used as a cover-up by top health officials to dismiss the lab leak theory. Advocacy groups are calling for a federal investigation into New Jersey State Police internal practices. New Jersey's NAACP Director Richard Smith says the department has a long-standing history of internal bias, which has resulted in 17 discrimination lawsuits. Amtrak service remains suspended along parts of the East Coast after 2 cars derailed at Union Station in Washington, D.C. Services are on hold between D.C. and Richmond, Virginia. After this morning's incident, no injuries were reported. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Boost your imagination with Audible. Listen to the biggest selection of audio entertainment, from celeb memoirs to motivation and more. Audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. There's more to imagine when we listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Black Lives Matters turns 10, and KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to be the exclusive media partner of the People's Justice Festival. This Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park. Come join us as we celebrate the life-saving and history-making work of Black Lives Matter to help bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. There will be live music performances, a children's village, giveaways, vendors, a healing justice space, Skillshare, and amazing speakers, including Green Party presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West, live on stage at 4:30 p.m. For more information, go to blmgrassroots.org. That's www.blmgrassroots.org. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley will be main stage hosts throughout the day, and the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation will be out in full force. So, join us this Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park, as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Black Lives Matter. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I done plant my seeds, now I'm rooted. Brown skin popping, I'm rooted. Can pull the hood out me, I'm rooted. Rooted, nappy head, rooted.
In our community, mental health struggles can sometimes go unnoticed. The suicide rate among Black youth has risen faster than any other ethnic group. Only 1 in 3 African Americans who need mental health care receives it. African American women are only half as likely as their Caucasian counterparts to seek professional mental health services. Even those who guide us spiritually can sometimes face their own challenges. 45% of pastors say they've experienced depression or burnout to the extent they need to take a leave of absence from ministry. As people of faith, it's time to acknowledge it's okay not to be okay. You can pray and get help. Visit normalizehelp.org for more information and resources. Join us in raising mental health awareness in our community. Funded by the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and the Champion Counseling Center of Faithful Central Bible Church.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically Black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Prothos-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pinky ring, we're about to be deep. Two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. But I left the bottle, now she tipsy. Can't trust these hoes cause they hippie. I know that your best friend gon' slide now. Party at my house, that's a vibe now. Holding on these like LeBron now. She's spitting off the top, that's a freestyle.
I think this is a good way for us to start the second half of the show. You know, vibing, nice little vibe. Something you could get your 1-2 step on. Speaking of 1-2 steps, you know, we see Brittany on Instagram doing her 1-2 steps often. We talked about her a great deal last week. Well, not a great deal. We discussed her because she had an altercation with NBA rookie Victor can I just call him Webby? I can't, because you got to be respectful of someone's name. So we're going to tackle this. Victor Wembanyama. Dog, I jack it up every time.
No,
Say it.
You actually had it.
I had it?
The pronouncing of the yam, though, was yam. Say it again.
Victor Wembanyama. Yama. Okay.
Wembanyama.
Easy. I'm going to just call him Vic. Do you know what I'm saying? Vic W.
Or Wemby.
Wemby. Here's the thing. Realistically, and I'm very serious about this. I know I'm joking around, but I think that a person's name is their name, and you should respect it. You should make every effort to get it correct. Sometimes it can be a little laziness. Sometimes it can just be we are used to enunciating things at times a little different. So I really am seriously trying to master it. I don't know why. It's just not sticking.
Jill.
Yes.
Can you say Giannis's name?
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo. What?
I'm just saying, I know it took a while for people to pronounce his name, but it got to a point where people are just saying it like it's easy now.
Yeah. And, we'll get to that with Vic over here. But right now, it's not flowing for me. It's just not rolling off the tongue with ease. He needs a nickname. And he better pick one before I get that it's Wemby, but he needs a better one. Something that's more fitting of a star. LeBron is the chosen one, the king. He needs something that is indicative of the heights that he's going to be.
Those were all self-given nicknames from LeBron.
They were.
So either he has to create one or...
here's the thing. I didn't like when KD was calling himself Spider or something like Durantula. Maybe somebody else called him that.
I think so, too, yeah.
Durantula. That was ugly.
Because he's long and skinny, that's why.
I get it, but, spiders, I don't really think of long and skinny. They have long pieces, but I think of, they're all crunched up together. They're, shrunk in.
So how'd you feel about Black Mamba?
Black Mamba was a dope name because of what a Mamba is, and things like that. That's different. Okay. You can't, and here's the thing. I do not mind self-given nicknames. I think it's okay.
Okay.
It happens sometimes, but it has to be a good one. Do you know what I'm saying? Wemby is just I don't know. But maybe he'll do something, I don't know, Blockmaster or something like that. But anyway, we know that some drama went down last week at Catch in Vegas. Brittany, who was a fan, went and tapped him behind as he was walking away. He's 7 feet tall. Brittany's probably 5'2", 5'3". She tapped him. His security, popped her hand away, caused her to slap herself. At some point, she fell on the ground or not. I don't know. Depends on who you ask. Anyway, Brittany just posted a video on Instagram following up, one of her tank top in a little thong dancing videos that she frequently does. I know that people have talked about them before, but I really got to wonder about those because the choreography isn't even fresh. Like, free Britney, let Britney cook, but let Britney cook with something delicious. I don't know, but that's another topic. So Britney said that she heard that people were talking smack about her in reference to this situation and that she wanted to come on Instagram and set the record straight. So she relayed the story again, said that, she was just trying to take a fan with him, that she had been all over the world with the biggest of the big. I don't know if she said in sync with big stars or if she was literally talking about in sync. I hope she wasn't like jumping back 20 years, but maybe she was. Point still stands. She said that her security, when rabid 12-year-olds were trying to fight over them and do all of these things, never touched any of the young ladies in their face, never did anything to the degree of what happened with the security. She also said that she got an apology in the restaurant after she went to her table about 30 minutes later, but because she is taking all of this backlash, she said that she is still waiting for that public apology. Let the apology be as public as the disrespect. So, do you think Britney deserves an apology for what happened? Or do you think that both parties just kind of just chalk it to the game? She should have thought about things a little bit more. But I kind of wonder about that. Britney has been a pop star for the last, 25, 27 years. So she is used to, no matter how you feel about her currently, she's used to being treated with a certain type of manner and respect. And I wonder if perhaps her assistant or her friend had approached them first, if that whole situation might have gone down differently, because we've all seen it, or if you're in LA, you've seen it where the friend is sent out to do the bidding of the celebrity or talent or star. And it could be a manager, publicist, whomever, just somebody other than the main event. So we'll see if Britney gets her public apology or if we'll just get more dancing videos on Instagram. But I would like to know, phone lines are open, 800-920-1580. If you want to share your thoughts on that, hit us up in the chat. Moving on, though, because like I said, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get into what's going on with Cedars-Sinai. Okay, Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, as we mentioned, huge hospital, known for a lot of celebrity cases, located here in LA, just on the edge of Beverly Hills. Some people might consider it Beverly Hills. That's a whole nother conversation. However, they are currently facing a civil rights investigation over how the Los Angeles hospital treats Black women who give birth there. An official with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has confirmed that an investigation is moving forward after allegations of racism and discrimination that have been connected to the hospital for years. One of the most high-profile cases in recent years was the death of Kira Dixon Johnson. Johnson went to Cedars in April 2016 to deliver her second son by cesarean section, but died hours later after hemorrhaging blood in her stomach. The news of the incident spread over social media and led her husband, Charles Johnson IV, to file 2 lawsuits against the hospital over her death. So in March, a copy of that letter was sent to, I think it was the Los Angeles Times, indicating that it was that the federal agency was aware of the allegations involving the hospital's level of care of Black women and would be looking into it. So their official statement is, the Office of Civil Rights has been made aware of concerns regarding the standard of care provided to Black women in the care of Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Specifically, OCR is aware of allegations that Black women are provided a standard of care below what is provided to other women who are not Black when receiving health care services related to labor and delivery. The letter noted that based on the allegations and the fact that Cedars-Sinai receives federal funding, the agency is now reviewing whether the hospital is complying with federal civil rights laws. In 2017, Johnson sued Cedars-Sinai in state court, as well as the doctor who attended to his wife during her hospital stay. He alleged wrongful death and emotional distress. Separately, Johnson also filed a civil rights lawsuit last year against Cedars-Sinai's in county superior court, accusing the hospital of not providing the best possible care because his wife was a black woman. Both lawsuits were settled. When we come forward, we'll get into where the case is now, and we'll also talk about what the expectations are as far as what Johnson would like to see happen with Cedars-Sinai. All that and more when we come forward. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The family of Keenan Anderson is suing the city of Los Angeles for $100 million. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. Keenan Anderson, a high school English teacher that was visiting Los Angeles from Washington, D.C., was tragically killed at the hands of the Los Angeles Police Department in January of this year. His family, alongside civil rights and personal injury attorney Benjamin Crump and Carl Douglas, have announced a $100 million lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. Crump and Douglas are representing Keenan Anderson's son, Sincere Anderson, and his mother, Gabrielle Hansel. The family is suing for civil rights violations, assault and battery, false imprisonment, and negligence on the part of the LAPD officers. The family of Keenan Anderson and attorneys Crump and Douglas want it to be known that this is only part of a systemic issue within the fabric of police departments everywhere.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
Want my secret for how to prep for summer getaways and get-togethers and get everything for less? Kohl's. I just went shopping and saved big on sunny day essentials like tees, tank tops, shorts, capris, swimwear, and beach towels. Because for every one I bought, I was able to get a second for only $1. Plus, I earned Kohl's Cash. So head to Kohl's and find the top styles for the lowest prices. You'll thank me later. Select styles. Offers in July 13th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking in. So we were just talking about, before we came forward, you know I love saying that, about Cedars-Sinai and the investigation that is taking place as far as their treatment of black women who come in for labor and delivery services to the hospital. As I mentioned, Charles Johnson IV settled 2 lawsuits, but according to the lawsuits, his wife Kira was admitted to Cedars-Sinai for a cesarean delivery, but hours later, they noticed that her catheter was draining blood. Dr. Naeem, who was her doctor, was made aware of the situation and said a surgical emergency CT scan should be ordered. But the scan was never performed according to the lawsuits. By the time she was sent in for the surgery, doctors found 3 liters of blood in her abdomen, and she soon died from hemorrhaging and shock and the blood loss, the lawsuit says. The hospital said in a statement last year about the lawsuit that officials reject any mischaracterization of our culture and values, and that they were actively working to eradicate unconscious bias in healthcare. So, I don't know. Again, as I mentioned, she is not the only situation that has been noted as far as subpar healthcare with Cedars-Sinai, which is very strange because it is noted as one of the top maternity units in Southern California, at least, and as far as healthcare in the hospital. So, I don't know. Would you entrust your health services to Cedars, knowing that they're being investigated federally right now for not treating their black patients the same? Do you even look into that? I mean, people don't think about it. We go to the doctor. We don't put too much thought into it. But do you research your doctor? Do you check their ratings from year to year when you go see them? Or do you just kind of roll with it and see what happens, and whatever shakes down is what shakes down? I'm curious about that. Let me know. So, next story in the headlines as we continue on these trending topics, and kind of appropriate, we're going from talking about black mothers to a black mother who believes that she is fighting for what is owed to her and her child. So, we know the great John Singleton passed away a few years ago. I believe it was April of 2019 that we lost John. Well, John's mother, who is heading up his estate, is actually being sued by one of his children's mothers for $15 million. She says that she has been bilked out of royalties from Snowfall and other projects. So Vestria Barlow, she's one of John's exes. She has 2 children with him. Said that she's filed a lawsuit against his mom, Sheila, because she said that, as I mentioned, not only does the estate owe her money, so do various studios. If you're aware, John passed away with a will, but it was a will that was created when he only had his oldest daughter, Justice. So that was the only child that was included in the will. They went on to settle some of the children or mothers, not, their various ages. Most of them were over the age of 18, but there were a few that were under. They decided to sue. That was settled, and they split the estate amicably. But obviously, it's still a working entity. There are still films and TV shows and rights that are a part of, and that's where Sheila comes in. Sheila was John's manager, I believe. She ran his production company. So it doesn't, seem too far-fetched that she would still be continuing to do this in his passing. Well, Vestria says in a lawsuit that she wants to recover damages for her children. As part of the probate case, she is, for her daughter Cleopatra, she is demanding $1 million, claiming John was supposed to maintain a life insurance policy with her as the beneficiary. She also said that the son she had with John, she was awarded primary custody of both of the children back in 2001. She said John was reportedly ordered to pay $3,800 per month per child in child support until they turned 18. She claimed he stopped making payments very early on, which led to her demanding almost $500,000 in back child support. My question, girl, 2001 you were awarded this, and you didn't think to try and follow up on it until 2019? Seems a little shady. Who's going to take your side in this? I don't know. I'm not saying, obviously, that the children shouldn't be taken care of, but you waited almost 20 years to bring this up. I don't know. Why wasn't it important before? She also claims that that Sheila, John's mother, knowingly and intentionally refused to pay past royalties, residuals, and compensation for use of Vistaria's intellectual property in films, TV programs, videos, and other streaming services. So she claims that she collaborated with John on several of his films, including Poetic Justice, Higher Learning, Woo, Rosewood, Shaft, Baby Boy, Hustle and Flow, Black Snake Moan, and more. She also claims to have helped him out with his hit series Snowfall. So basically, she's saying that she was a collaborator. But there's no actual proof of this. In the lawsuit, she also accuses the various studios of failing to properly pay the residuals owed to John. So not only is she saying she wasn't paid for her stuff, she somehow says that she knows what the studios should have been paying to John and that they have not been taking care of their due diligence either, and that Sheila hasn't been on the ball to recognize that John hasn't been paid for these things and is denying her. So basically, she has the keys to everything. She seems to have a lot going on. She also claims that the studios owe her 7 to 10% of all the residuals from the late writer and director. The suit also reads that Sheila knowingly, intentionally, and negligently concealed true and accurate income derived from all of these properties. Well, here's some insider, right? According to someone close to the family and situation, and this is not something that you'll hear anywhere else, she said that she has been harassing John's mom for years, since he was in the hospital when he suffered the stroke that led to his passing. Sheila hasn't really been able to mourn her son because she's been dealing with the constant barrage of embattled babies' mamas. So it begs the question to ask, should John, and I know it's kind of hard to say post-death, was John being irresponsible by not updating his will? Granted, no one wants to think about their demise, but do you owe it to your children, especially as you continue to have more and more, to make sure that your affairs are in order? Because we never know the time, date, or hour when something is going to happen to us and when we'll be impacted. So is it really John's fault that these problems are happening, whether they're true or not? We'll obviously never know. We'll see what happens with the outcome of this case. But I do feel like something seems very suspect. You waited 20 years to mention that, oh, there's all this back child support that he stopped paying probably a year into it. And, oh, every single project that he's ever been on, I contributed. And no one gave me any type of acknowledgement, credit, compensation. And you're waiting until 4 years post-death after the estate has been settled to bring things up. Again, we don't know the complete inside, but something seems a little amiss. So if you have comments on any of that, let me know. Coming up in the next hour, we will be talking with Eric Ashton Spooner. I'm very excited to talk to him. He is going to share lots of gems with us, give us his backstory, all of that and more when we come forward. You are checking out KBLA Talk 1580.
You should be doing that back in the first place. It's breezy, know you heard of me. Ooh, yeah. Pinky ring, we're about to be deep. Two-tone my Lambo, that's drippy. But I left the butt on that she tipsy. Can't trust these cause they hippie. I know that your best friend gon' slide now. Party at my house, that's a vibe now. All on these like LeBron now. She's spitting off the top, that's a freestyle. I'm about to turn it up 100